Get it!
Okay, you're going to be going on a proper angling adventure with me. We're going to travel across 7 different countries and we're going to see what's happened. Nothing's pre-planned, there's no script. What happens will happen, and it should be a laugh. There'll be ups and downs. Let's do it.
Danny's packed, ready to go. Me and Dan are on our way to Hungary. Week there and on to Croatia and a week there. Longest session I've ever done in my life, probably the longest one Dan's ever done. Keep you updated.
Arrived at the lake in Hungary, I was really keen, as was everyone, to get some eyes on the water, and it was a typical reservoir, high-sided, and as I walked up my eyes were met with 120 acres. One side was just flat grass banks and the other side was big overhanging trees and snags, and yeah, it looked great. There was a slight mist on the lake, we're seeing the odd fish. The fish were predominantly down one end as well, so straight away I'm thinking about the draw and where I want to come out. So after we'd all looked around the lake for a good couple of hours, we was all pretty whacked from the drive. We went down to this lakeside hotel and we had pizza and beers, they got pool tables, and we did the draw. And it was a bit nerve-wracking, so I knew the 2 swims that I really wanted to be in, but a lot of anglers had seen these fish and they couldn't have missed them, so we had to see where it was going to come out.
Welcome at Bajansenia, Hungarian venue. It's going to be a new thing for all of us. We all know nothing about the lake. We know there's big fish in there. So it's going to be potluck where you're going to be and what you're going to do. You're ready for English? Yes. Okay. I will draw the first one, and the guy who's been drawn picks his place and pick up another number out of the bag. Yeah.
So we started proceedings for the draw, and I tell you what, there was a few red herrings being thrown about. People were talking about swims they wanted to fish, and I knew they were trying to lead me off their scent. But really, we knew where we needed to be. And even though we come out late in the draw, we actually got one of our first 3 choice swims, so we was happy with that. Swim 1 would have been good on the dam wall, there was a lot of fish there, but we was happy. We were sort of sandwiched between anglers, but we had a very long chuck in front of us, and I really did feel, as the week went on, that that would play into our hands. So in the morning, everyone was keen to get going, and I got round to swim 4 in the van. We're pulling our gear out, I walked up to the lake and I see 3 fish straight away in front of me. I wasted no time, I pulled one of the rods out of the rod bags, stuck on a pop-up and just slung it out there. That way I've got a chance while I'm setting up. I hadn't even got the bivvy up when this rod starts to mount. I picked up the rod And straight away I had that old sinking feeling. It was a very powerful fish and I knew I was into a catfish.
That'll do for starters.
Well, it ain't what we come for, but whenever I catch one of these I have to admire how beautiful they are. Some people don't like them, but out here they're called the Silurus. We know them as a Welsh catfish. Yeah, still a bit lively, this one. Probably around low 30s, I should think. I love all fish. So first off the mark with a carp was the Flying Dutchman Cor Hendricks and a lovely mirror around the mid-30 mark. We started to get our gear in place, and the first thing we done after getting a rod out on some showing fish was to get a feature finder out that was attached to a bait boat. And I've never really used bait boats, but it really was an eye-opener to how good these things are. So as we drove the bait boat out, it was showing the contours of the bottom, and the average depth was around 12 to 13 feet until you got to about 200 yards, where there was a gradual slope up to 7 foot. This area screamed carp for me. Dan's plan was to fish halfway across over quite a lot of bait. My plan was to fish long onto the sanctuary. The sanctuary was about 280 yards, so it took all the capacity of my reels to get there. We was going to do this through the week, see who had the best results, and then we could always switch round tactics to maximise the amount of fish we were going to catch. First night passed by quite quietly, and I think that was due to the angling pressure. These fish hadn't seen anglers like us before turning up, bait boats, rowing boats, spomming, so it probably put them down to ground a little bit. But I did manage to get my first bite. Only a small fish of 16 pound, but I knew my tactics were working. Just up from me, another angler Gork had caught a lovely common, big long one, 51 pounds. And also Jay Cater had managed to get off the mark with a fish around 34 pounds, a mirror.
Happy man?
Yes, happy man. Yay!
One of the lads just along from me, Liam, it was his 30th birthday and we had to celebrate it for him, didn't we? And we went down there and he'd had a fish, so even more reason to celebrate. So everyone was having a good time, he was playing a bit of music, and one of the German lads there, Herc, who was just fishing up from us, gets a bite, and we walked along to see him. And it was great, he really got into the atmosphere of it, and lo and behold, it was a PB at £48 common, an absolutely stunning carp as well.
Get him back, jongens.
So finally our plan had started to come together. The pressure from the lines either side started to push fish out in front of us. Dan's heavy baited spots started to produce bites for him, and little did we know something special was just about to happen.
Out of three, that was the closest one. I might do the scales because they're...
What, are they 60?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's done them.
No, I ain't.
It has.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. It's done them.
No,
Mate. It's flattened them out. Yeah, it has.
That's all it where they can get it on. Centre's 66.
Look at the back of it.
Humpy. It's victorious. Well done, Dad. Well done, buddy. No bucket.
Now remember, we had agreed that if we caught a really big fish, we would do a challenge that the other one set, and this obviously slipped Dan's mind, but it didn't slip mine.
I'll give you that tip. Yeah, look at the
Cheers, mate.
Recording.
Okay. Second fish today. The other one was 39.15. This one's 34.10. If it had come off, I'd have said it was a monster. He fought so hard, it's unbelievable. They all are in here. We can't tell whether they're carp or catfish when we're hooking them.
Yes! Yes! Get in!
Yeah, let the mystery continue. Hopefully we're going to get some monsters. A bit like what Dan had earlier. Well done, Dan.
Cheers, Davey.
Good night, mate. Finished it with a 40 pounder, 220, and you didn't wake me up for the other two, so I'm grateful at that.
Yeah, Si was on hand. It's been a busy 12 hours.
Lovely carp, that, isn't it?
We finally come across that 100-yard spot to the left, and put down a bit left. Hopefully have a few more.
One more day for the big one. You've had one. It's my turn. Well done, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
So Dan has smashed his PB with a 66 pounder, and not only that, he was the first Englishman to ever catch a 30 kilo fish from that lake in Hungary, so that made it even more special. As the week wore on, some of the other lads that had really been struggling, they decided to do the off a couple of days early. We was tempted because it was like 25 degrees in the day and like minus at night, frost over everything. But we stayed on for that extra night, and you know what, I'm glad we did, because I had my biggest fish of the week, a 47 pound common. And what made it nicer, as the morning light come up and the mist rose from the lake, Dan had a 30 pounder as well, so we had a lovely brace shot to finish. Go. Last morning's success in Hungary. Now we're lucky we stuck it out for one more night, I think. 47 pound, 4 ounce common. Gonna get out of here now and see if we can catch a bigger one, believe it or not. But mega pleased with that. So the week had come to an end in Hungary, and what a great week it was. We'd gone there knowing nothing and left knowing a little bit about it. Will it be the last time we go there? Definitely somewhere else I'd like to investigate again. So we all packed up on the lake from Hungary, met up in the car park, and we travelled in convoy across country through 2 more borders and into Croatia. When we got to Croatia, eventually we arrived at Lake Samba, and there was a lot of anticipation. We knew a lot more about this lake than we did the previous, and there was a lot of big fish, but it was going to be swimmy. Where would we come out in the draw this time? So when I first set eyes on Samba, immediately I liked the lake. It was more like your sort of traditional carp lakes you get at home, but at 50 acres it wasn't exactly small. There were small islands, tall runs of reeds. I couldn't wait to get a line in there, and the fish had made it quite obvious where they were. So I met up with Dan and we formulated a plan for the swims we'd like to get in that draw.
Begins.
Get in there! First Croatian carp, just under £30. Rods have been out 25 minutes. Me and Dave fishing, both sets of 3 rods, super tight together, huge spread of bait. Never turned up at a venue and put this much bait in at the start. We've got the advice from the owners, and yeah, 25 minutes in, we're off the mark. Happy days.
One of the lads on the trip, Jörg, caught the first really big fish of the trip, a 79-12 common, and what an immaculate fish it was.
Davey, you can help me for yeah. Thank you guys.
It wasn't just Jörg to get amongst the big fish, with newly joined RidgeMonkey Pro Aaron Fisher catching a gorgeous £59 common.
Didn't actually put that one as far either.
Back to killing.
Big. Well done, mate.
35.
.42.8. First fish, just lost one, bit gutted. Put the rod back out, and this one turned up straight away. 42.8. Got to be happy with that, haven't you? Gotta love carp fishing. Wicked, mate. Nice one. Thank you, Simon. Second 40 in about 25 minutes, so we found where they are. We get Dan out there now as well, both get a rod out in that area. Try and catch a real big one. £42, this would do. Alright Dan.
And it wasn't just me getting among the fish. It wasn't long before Dan and some of the others were catching as well.
Well, they're getting bigger for me. 38.4 this one. Lovely Croatian carp. Had quite a mad day today. I think we've had 6 now between me and Dave. Dave's had a couple of losses, so all 8 bites and all. It's been a nice afternoon.
Good morning. First fish from Samba Lake. £50, 8 ounces. It took a while. It took nearly 36 hours to get a bite when everyone else around us has been slaying them. Yeah, so over the moon with this one. I haven't had many really big commons, so this is really good to go in the net. Happy days. First Croatian carp. Is it about 27?
Just under £27.
£27.
Size in on the axe. He's come here to film us and he couldn't watch anymore. He's had to get in on it.
I want to play. I want to play.
Well done, Si.
So far we've had 27 fish, half of them over 20 kilo. Only fishing days at the moment. It's been very, very hectic. Literally runs every half an hour. Seems to be hitting them at the moment. Bait every time. Not loads of bait. It's going very well. Yeah, very happy.
£56, 4 ounce. Samba bar of gold.
Well done, mate.
Over it.
Oh, good.
Now things had really started to come together for me. Them small food parcels going out a bit further at 38 wraps were starting to produce me better fish, and eventually a fish rolled over the net cord and I knew it was a bit special.
Yeah, that might go, that's big. Big dump.
Oh, get on, Jay. Come on, you're an animal.
Yeah,
What?
I can't wait in there. You're a real man, get your thumb in there.
63 something.
Put one finger, didn't you?
Well, just let it stabilise. That's it. 63, 10, 12, 63, 12.
Get in.
Woohoo! Woo!
I am.
That's a wicked shot.
Yeah! Video. 63.12, first ever 60. Well happy.
Come on, Davey.
Cheers, mate. So if you go around that way, don't
Do it again.
Lake Samba had really started to produce, and it didn't take long before some of the other lads were among some really big fish. The man they call Ziggy had already had some amazing fish this trip, including a £69 mirror and now a lovely £59 common, both being PBs.
How he's smiling.
Let's step back a little bit here. Okay. Go. That was awesome.
15-year-old Jake, who was also on the trip, had been struggling up the other end fishing with his dad Dan. Cole Pritchard kindly let him come down and get in on the action on his rods, and he was soon catching a PB.
Get in there, Jake! Yes! Go on, son!
Jake, look at the camera.
Hold on.
How's this feel, Jake?
Yeah, mate.
Oh, my back's hurting most.
Go on, son!
Want to give him just a quick chin up a bit?
Here we go. Just on me.
Got it!
There you go.
I don't know you're rolling that, bro. Put your hand down a bit, Jake, if you can. You can the left hand. Just covering it. That's
it, mate.
Good for your side.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Put it on, Jake.
Down slowly, mate. And then give it that
So after Cole let little Jake reel in a 50-pounder on his rods, karma prevailed, and Cole went on to catch a mammoth 70-pound common.
70. Yes! Yes!
well done.
Yes, mate. Come on. Yes, my son. Good, mate.
Got that, Cole?
£70, 6 ounce of Samba gold. 20 minutes after putting the rods back out.
what you call a chunk.
On this particular day, I lost a fish early morning, and about an hour later I lost another fish, both in the same snag, and I realised I had to move that rod. So a tactical change saw me move that rod back to 36 wraps, which is shorter of the area where I've been getting the fish. The rod had been out about 2 hours, and I received a take.
That's what happened. I spent the morning with the rods in, really. Got new rigs tied. Been getting all my bites on about 1 inch pop-ups, milky toffee main lines, and I've got all new rigs done, tied them up, got set, put all 3 rods out, about 140 yards. We're using bait boats here, so it's nice and easy to bait up accurately. I ain't using a lot of bait. When we come here, we was told like you're going to need a ton of bait, and so a couple of guys brought a ton of bait, but we're getting runs at the moment on 1 bait boat full, which is about 2 kilo. So that suits us because we didn't bring a ton of bait. We bought a fair bit, but not a ton. And this one feels well heavy, feels a good fish. What more could you ask for? 20 degrees in October, playing big carp. Someone pinch me.
Initially, when I lent it into the rod, I thought the fish had found yet another snag. The rod was hooked right over into the butt, and the rod was actually creaking like I'd never heard it before. Suddenly there was a head kick, and the fish started to move slowly towards me. This carried on for the next 5 minutes. I couldn't really gain much line, and every movement was really slow. I started to think maybe I've got something really special on here. Slowly but surely, the fish ended up 30 yards out. It was in 14 foot of water, and the angler next to me, John, remarked that it was still sending up tail patterns, and I started to think, what the hell have I got on? After getting my first glimpse of the fish, I soon realised that I was not only playing a big fish, but maybe the biggest fish I'd ever catch in my life. My knees were wobbling, and I told Dan to get into the lake and get ready with the net.
Is it?
Dan had a very serious look on his face as he got his first glimpse of the fish. Slowly but surely, she slid over that net cord, and that seemed to take forever.
It's massive. F***ing hell bells.
Holy s***.
Woo! Oh, f*** me. That's f***ing 8. F***ing hell.
Get another wetting.
Yeah, you know that.
Yep, just done it, £90. So 88, 2. Come on! 88.2.
As the needle swung round, I was expecting it to stop around £75, but it just carried on going, past £80, right round to £88. I was actually in shock.
Yeah.
Fish of my dreams, £88.
the RidgeMonkey trip. I'm gonna get royally smashed. I tell ya. Do it, Paul. Come on, let's have it. Oh yes.
Love it.
First ever proper Euro suit.
I don't care.
What are you calling it?
Gorgeous.
Jesus Christ. Mate, it was so heavy, it was unbelievable. Old John went, you got one of the good ones on. I said, yeah, I was like, give her one more stay. Easy get up, mate. That's it, mate, that's it. £88, 2 ounces. Nothing to say. I'm getting pissed. So. Wake me up.
Second fish, yeah?
Second fish in like just literally letting go of an 88 pounder and the rod's gone. And there's a 45-12 common on the end. Couldn't make it up. Honestly. Someone's going to pinch me in a minute. Okay, this is a 37-pound mirror. Crazy night. What I'll do, I'll get him back and we'll look at some of the tactics we're using here to catch these fish and what we think singling out the bigger fish as well. So I'm just going to talk you through some of the tactics and rigs that we're using here. This is the actual rig that I caught the 88 pounder on. And we've just found out that it's a late record and hasn't been caught for 2 years, so I'm quite chuffed about that. But anyway, back to the rig. The hook I'm using is our new pop-up hook, and it's quite thick in the wire. It's a nice strong hook with a super sharp point. I've actually had 3 fish on this hook and I haven't had to touch it. A lot of people are sharpening hooks these days and it's nice to get one out of a pack you can just use. So what I've then got is a 25-pound stiff monofilament attached to a 35-pound coated braid, and I've attached that with an Albright knot, then covered it in putty. Pulling back the outer skin of that allows there to be a hinge movement in it, and that's the rig. This rig's actually known as the Earl Grey rig. A friend of mine showed me it and I used it successfully at home, and the reason I used it here is because I knew the environment out there was quite up and down and I wanted to have a good hook hold on the fish, and once this is in it generally never comes out. So with our 2-week adventure coming to an end, the action didn't stop there. Team members went on to keep catching fish, including myself, and some memories were made.
I had a 42 leather, 46 leather, 44 common, topped by this 55-pound common. Looking back over them 2 weeks, it weren't just the 88 pounder that made that session, it was the people I met, new friends, new foods, different borders, 3,158 miles of driving through Austria, snow-capped mountains. It was great, it was a real fishing adventure, and I'm not going to make it my last. I've got the bit between my teeth now, and I've got other targets I want to catch.